Welcome back, everybody, and sorry for the wait. My power went out, but now we are back in full swing once again. We're coming off our best season in this dynasty so far. Year 5 was our best to date. 11 wins on the year, our highest win total in this dynasty so far. We finished the year ranked number 22 out of 25 in the top 25 polls. And despite missing out on the college football playoff, we still did win the Sun Belt Conference just like last year, and what will likely be our final season in the Sun Belt. In total, we have 14 starters leaving our team this year, and a lot of defensive backups also heading out of our program, but nobody headed to the portal, so we're keeping everybody else who is eligible for further playing time in the coming years. But a lot of players leaving our team. We're going to see Grant Huff get taken round 1, our likely first ever player drafted out of our school, and then J.R. Lehan supposed to go in round 5 as a true senior at safety. So our first 2 NFL draft prospects in the entire series, and I wish I could, kind of continue and see where they would go in Madden, but I guess I can't do that until they have that ability to kind of download those rosters or those draft classes from between these 2 games. But regardless, Huff's going at first round. Great offensive lineman, not perfect, but a really great pass protector, no doubt about that. So on offense in total, we are losing about 4 starters. We've seen Grant Huff start. LJ Young and Bell were starters this past year, and I think Bell was a top 3 receiver last year as well. But then you had a couple guys that have played either off the bench or in a starting capacity. You've got Jermaine Houston at right tackle, Damon Green, who's played both left and right tackle. LaShawn Gray was a starter for about a year and a half, and then backups in Josh Ringer and Spanway. Then defensively, you have a lot more players leaving. A lot of these guys were also starting. Of course, Lehan was a starter for his entire career at Houma. You had Timmy Yoki brought in from the portal last offseason. He's going to be gone. Same goes for Jonathan Gadsden, the free safety. Draymond Gates sometimes started, sometimes did not. You had Shakir Pounds, one of our longtime linebackers across the middle. Ben Laney, a longtime, really effective player off the bench for us. Same goes for James Couch-Smith, who had a couple of starts here and there. Randall Glenn, John Decker, DeMarvin Holland all had fantastic seasons. And we lose a couple of backups in King Joseph Edwards, Elijah Greenwood, Devin Frazier, Chris Ellinger, and Eric Roberts. And in the NFL draft, we actually had 3 players go. Timmy Ilke was projected undrafted, but does go in round 7. Grant Huff does go round 1 as expected. And Leon actually went a little bit earlier than we thought as well, in round 4. So our first ever drafted players in Grant Huff, J.R. Lehan, and Timmy Oki. Different positions, 2 different sides of the football, but that will bump us up to a 2.5-star program, it looks like, up above. So that'll help us out in terms of bringing new players in that want to play for a school that can kind of develop them into NFL draft kind of players. I do expect us to only focus on a handful of positions here in the portal. Not too many spots. We've addressed most of our defensive holes with the high school recruits, but we're looking for essentially a starting corner to replace Timmy Oki. We're looking for, on offense, a backup running back, a potential tight end starter, and then probably 2 or 1 starting tackles, then a backup tackle, and a backup guard. And then that, I think, is it besides kicker and punter. So those are the holes for us to fill. And don't forget that we also lost our coordinators to the coaching carousel. So we have a new staff entering this next season. And both guys that left were high prestige, max level coordinators. So we bring in Shane Moang, a D+ prestige level, I want to say 24 coordinator. And so we are probably going to lose a lot of what we got on offense from the motivator tactician, and the recruiter trees. And on defense, it's the same story. We don't even have that unlocked now for Jason Walt, so expect it to be a lot more difficult for us to bring in top recruits and use less hours for more actions. So that will have an impact on both recruiting and actual gameplay. We'll see how that unfolds as the year begins next episode. But let's jump into the portal and see what we can do here with the transfers. And we can see here that there are no 5-star prospects in the portal. That is kind of disappointing. 4-star prospects, you have plenty, but a lot of them have us locked out because, again, I think losing some coach prestige, not quite being a championship contender, will have a lot of these players not like us. But there will be only one 4-star prospect that has interest. Last year, we had a lot more interest. And it looks like coach prestige obviously went down. It's a B-. You got to have a B for most of these players. Championship contender should be fine, but I guess most of these guys have their top 5s already selected, and we're only in one top 5. It's a linebacker that we don't actually really need. So we're looking more so at 3-star prospects instead in the portal, and these guys can be very hit or miss. They could have a high overall or a low overall without us really knowing more. We have to scout a lot. So let's dive in. The corner is first up because we're looking for a likely starter. We'll look at the only 2 guys that had us in their top teams. That's Rashad Miles and then J.C. Pilgrim. Miles is a slot corner, 89 speed, 78 man coverage, 70 zone coverage. J.C. Pilgrim, 77 man coverage, 87 speed. He's pretty agile, has some good chain of direction, and is a better zone coverage guy. He's definitely more of a two-way coverage player than Miles is, but the speed being that low, again, is concerning for us. We're probably going to end up starting a couple of those 4-star prospects that we brought in from high school, but we'll pretty much have to offer one of these guys, and I think zone coverage, man coverage being good for Pilgrim, I think is the deal breaker here. We'll offer a scholarship. Now at tackle, Sam Ojomo, pass protector, 85 power and finesse. I'm trying to avoid these pass block only players because run blocking I think matters a lot in this game, and pass blocking I think is very hit or miss. This guy's a worse pass protector. There were 2 other tackles that had us in their top lists, and those guys are Mike Landers and Kyrie Rourke, and every single player on this list is a pass protector, so probably not going to get good run blocking anywhere in this batch. And it's clear to me that the best pass blocker was Sam Ojomo. Solid speed, he's got some good abilities here, and we need to bring in at least 1 more right tackle and 2 left tackles, and we are recruiting a couple other ones from high school still. We'll also offer James Carmazzi to round out our needs at tackle because we are going after a right tackle and Vitele Tuipaluto. So if we get him, we will have that plus the 2 transfer left tackles and have the offensive line nearly complete. We have 2 halfback options here, Everett Sharp and Rashard Hope, the only 2 guys that have interest in our school this offseason. Everett Sharp, 94 speed, shifty and recoup, and then a team player mental ability. Really elusive player. I like him a lot with that speed. Could be a nice option off the bench for us. And then another speedy player and Rashard Hope. So 2 pretty solid options here, but Rashard Hope is a freshman transfer, while Sharp is a junior. So I'm going to go with Rashard Hope. because of that alone. And there's not really a whole lot of difference between these two players in terms of the other abilities. Except, I mean, Pope does have less than Sharp does, but he's more of a guy for the future. We'll offer him. Then we have tight ends. We have freshman transfer Angelo Cook and sophomore transfer Gabe Huhaid, I think it's pronounced. Both are possession archetypes. And we'll go after a kicker and punter after this to round out this class, hopefully. Cook, 82 catching. Probably won't be a starting caliber player. I think that Reggie Reese still will have that job, but could find a solid backup here on one of these two players. And seems like Cook is the better player, and he's also a freshman. We're going to go after him. And lastly, we have the kickers. Let's just go through and see who ends up having the best combo of kick power and accuracy. James Butts is an accurate archetype player. These are all going to be high scores. He's also a gem. He's got deep range on one of his abilities. Clutch kicker and road dog. 85 kick accuracy. And only 67 kick power. But the ability is going to help that, no doubt. Robert Johns. What about him? 85 kick power. More of a bust player. I don't think that the dev trait matters that much for kickers. So he's got the same accuracy as Butts and more power. And we secure the signing of 3-star gem Senelau Gitsi out of Orange, California to add to our offensive line for the future. We get Vitelli Tuiapoloto as well. And that is it this week. Looking at more kickers, you got 80 accuracy, 72 power for Juan Murray. And for Jesse Mincy, 93 power, 72 accuracy. He's got the Mega-Leg ability and the natural and road dog mental abilities. Best power of the bunch so far is the accuracy too low. It's one of the highest on this list. I think 76 so far is the highest with Robert John. So I'm going to take off James Butts from our board. And I'll also remove Juan Murray, and we'll scout the other few kickers that there were, and then decide from there. Avery Priest. Accuracy is definitely hard to come by. I'm leaning towards the combo of power and accuracy, plus the Mega Leg ability for Jesse Mintz. I'm just going to offer him the scholarship right now, because I doubt anybody else is better than him. Plus, Miami's going after him. We got to really up our game here to secure him. We add James Carmazzi from the portal. He's the only addition this week. LSU trying to slip in behind a slate to secure Rashard Pope. He just is coming off of visits. We already have him hard sold. We're going to add 10 more hours and hope this will get us over the hump. And hopefully we just get a really solid backup running back. We're close to getting Angelo Cook and the other guys as well, like J.C. Pilgrim. And Miami's still in front for Jesse Mincy. We can schedule a visit this week now. We'll do that for probably Coach Prestige. And we'll use the last hours that we have. Or I guess we can just only use 5 more. That's the best we can do. We will at least scout the other kickers. I took the other guys off our board here. We do get our third corner of the class in 3-star J.C. Pilgrim from the portal. We also get left tackle San Ojomo to round out the rest of the offensive line. And did we get anybody else? We did. We got Rashard Pope. LSU fails to kind of steal him away from us in the waning moments of the portal period. It'll be a really solid backup for years to come. Potential future starter. We also get Angelo Cook from the portal as well. He'll be a backup too. So we should be seeing a new punter on the roster next year with Nathan Richard, who we went after the last episode. And we have a good chance to pass Miami. But is it good enough? Probably not. So we're going to end up having to offer a scholarship probably to somebody else. But just in case, I think we're going to go after either Avery Priest or Alan Darr, because they have good power and decent accuracy. I think we'll go after Priest and just offer a scholarship to him. And we're the only team to do so. And we do secure Nathan Richard. And at kicker, we get Avery Priest. But I don't think that we got Jesse Mincy. In fact, we did not. He ends up signing with Miami. So, we don't get our first option, but a solid player in Priest. And so, we end up with probably a top 30 class, if I had to guess, a top 20 class, in fact, actually, at number 19. 31 total commits in this class. And that's a pretty good one. 14 4-star commits. Definitely the most that we've had in program history. 17 3-stars. Nobody less than that. That is a really promising class. Still no top 5 classes. It's going to kind of take several years to get to that level. But our best class of this dynasty, I've got no complaints. We already have some immediate freshman starters with guys like Nathan Cooks and Sean Pryor, perhaps. We added David Hagg. Casey Hale, no doubt, will have a big role offensively behind some of our incoming sophomore players, like Enrique Cheridor and Cal Harper and Brian Lair. But also at corner, Marquise Levitt coming in, Alex Spangler at receiver, Rashad Volk on the defensive line, a couple of defensive backs, and Alex McSwain and Devron Bender. Even more 4-star wideouts. Gonna have a whole host of those guys. So, a really good class in total. And I cannot wait to see what these guys end up looking like. And for changes to positions, I will move Frank Bad News permanently to center, because that is where he was initially. And I also want to change probably Cole Kane to our left guard, given that he's more oriented towards pass protection. And that's where that matters most on Brady's blind side. So we'll do that and have kind of a solid overall depth across the interior with Kane and Bad News and Paul Phoenix. And I think most of their senior seasons, actually Kane and Phoenix are both juniors, but probably could declare after this year for the draft, because we saw in 92 overall in Grant Huff go in the first round, so they could be on their way to first round draft picks too. We're fine at tackle probably, and probably leave our defensive spots where they are, so we have some pretty solid depth. And now for the training results. Did we go up in overall and improve as a program? We are about where we were a year ago. We did go up half a star, I think, to 2.5 stars. And we have pretty much the same overall as a year ago, but I'm already seeing a lot of players have improved, including one big player on offense. And Kiki Newcomb. He had a very strong finish to his year, a very strong second half to year 5. Now he comes in as a senior, and with this playbook is primed to have another elite campaign, but this time for a full season. A 96 overall with the boosts. Fantastic ratings. 95 elusiveness, great agility and juke move, and all the above. Very quick player. Couple of mental abilities. It's coming off a year we had about 1,100, 1,200 rushing yards. Expect that to be way, way higher in his third year with the Bobcats. And we do also see our quarterbacks improve across the board, but Braden now up to an 87 true overall. I was worried about his development because last year he really did not really go up from his sophomore season, but now he is fully maxed out. The accuracies are as high as they can be. IQ, health, quickness, every single category is maxed out. and he is primed for a really strong senior year to round out a fantastic 4-year stretch. Had a really solid rookie or freshman season, improved entering his second year as a starter, and played about the same this last year as well. Very similar numbers. So with the overall going up and the playbook being this good, I think that he is going to have his best year of his career and could perhaps go in a late round draft pick if things work out. At running back, we are going to be pretty darn deep, and Pope's not even going to be a top 4 player, so we'll have to work on next year's results. But Newcomb, obviously, we saw him. He's our highest rated player now on the roster. Never thought I would say that for a running back this early in the series, but he is. Then you got Tyreek Mulligan, up to an 86 overall with the boosts. So we have a really solid running back room here. Can't complain there. And at wide receiver, Cal Harper, the elite dev, true sophomore, up to an 83 from like a 73 overall, I think. And still has improvements to do, especially in terms of power and being a really tough receiver. But he's already very elusive. He's already very quick with 95 speed, high IQ, great ball carrier vision. And he's going to be our #1 receiver entering his true sophomore season. Expect a lot of passes headed his way. And we have added a lot more 4-star players. But Roland Hasty comes in as our new #2. Now, the overalls might be kind of low here. But I think that, again, a big difference maker for most receivers is the speed, the acceleration, and the change of direction, plus the agility. I think that matters a lot. And we have a lot of speed on this team. Enrique Cherador, 96 acceleration, 92 speed. And then the true freshmen, we have 4 true freshmen coming in. I think all 4 of them are 4 stars, with Eric Jordan being the best. We'll go through their depth traits in a couple of moments. So we're not going to focus too much on them, but Spangler's got 96 speed. Might want to get him some playing time over Howie Mann, who we're likely to see a bench role for him. I expect a lot of our receivers to be true freshmen, sophomores, juniors, because all the seniors have left. At tight end, Reggie Reese returns, same overall as he was last year. We bring in Angelo Cook to be his top backup as LaShawn Gray graduates. Left tackle could be a concern for us. We brought in Sam Ojomo. Could he be a starter? Potentially. You've got 3 options here, at least at the position, with Clay Sampson and Larry Marcock. At left guard, we have Cole Kane, obviously a great player. He will find a full-time starting role this year, with the physical abilities going from silver to platinum, the max level. Frank Bad News, a great player. Could we see Brooks Simonson get some playing time at tackle or something? Maybe. He weighs 314. Other tackles, anywhere from 318 to 286. Right guard, Paul Phoenix. Can't really say too much about him. He's already just a fantastic player for us. We brought in Garbud, who's going to be a true freshman. Right tackle, Reggie Cole improves again. And I think he was really good when he played. I think he'll have a starting role again this year. I think he played left tackle for us some last year, and right tackle as well. But he's going to be the right tackle starter. And we'll see what happens at left tackle. We'll have to figure that out. Defensively, though, Chuck Gato comes in as the highest rated left end on this roster at 84 overall. He is mostly going to be a pass rusher with 86 power moves. But if you want to go for a run blocker, then Greg Gibbs could be an option. 89 block shed, 86 power moves. Could be a solid starter there out as well. But Gato does have 82 speed. That's pretty important for a power guy with 88 strength. Right end, Dorian Combs is going to enter his senior year, and he is primed for a starting job once again to continue his record-breaking career with the Bobcats. I cannot wait for him. Could we see Keelan Byard play at left end as a starter instead? He's got 95 power moves. I think that's just, you just got to start this guy immediately and make this pass rush as good as it was a year ago. We were the top pass rushing team of the conference and number 2 in the country behind Oregon. And then our defensive tackles also improved across the board, starting with Tevin Hippenhammer and Fanao Soto. They have fantastic play rec, and block show will still be kind of a concern for our defensive line, but pass rush probably won't be. So expect more sacks and probably more yards given up on the ground, which is how we closed last year. Esteban Rizzo, 88 overall, now going to be a full-time starter, no doubt about that. And no real question about who's going to be starting out there. Middle linebacker, Jaquez Michelle. I've been waiting to start this guy for the last 2 years. Now he's a 93 overall with the boosts as a redshirt sophomore. I think the only other elite dev player on the roster. He wears number 19, and we'll be seeing a lot of him in the second level of our defense. And still, he has things to work on. He could probably be like a 96 overall, true overall, by the time that he reaches these peaks, because all but one category has yet to reach the max cap for him. So excited for him. Can't wait to see him be our starter and make plays both against the ground and in pass coverage. He's got some speed. He is very smart, very aware. And we also get Dominic Maloney back for his junior year at a 89 overall. We got several freshmen coming in, primed to be their replacements here in a couple of years. So the defense looks ready to hopefully pick up where things left off a year ago. We'll see Dennis Oman, who I believe was a part of that very first class in this dynasty, and he'll be an 83 starter, most likely on this defensive line or at linebacker. He's a solid overall player, mostly relies on power moves, but solid speed, strength, good play rec. Can't really complain too much. At corner, I'm not sure what's going to happen here, because we have Donnie Gesser coming in, 86 overall, 92 speed, great man coverage, 74 zone, similar for Chuck Carter. So could we see us move more towards a man coverage again? I would have to remove all the press plays because our pressing is not going to be very good. But could we return to a more man coverage style? I think it's possible, but I want to see how the zone coverage works again, because that has been leading us to more sacks, I believe, on the year and less of those big plays. So we'll start off by the same playbook and then make adjustments as we see fit. But behind those two, Paul Nix, a great zone coverage player, and then Henry DeVries, 98 speed, fantastic athlete as a redshirt freshman, and he's decent at both coverages. Then you have J.C. Pilgrim, who won't be a starter, but he will be out there on 5 wide sets, so he will get plenty of playing time against those types of offenses that run the spread. Marquise Levitt and Estes, the true freshman, and I think they will have to wait for a starting role in the future. Now we've got safety, and Damian G becoming the new starter in his redshirt sophomore campaign, 85 speed. Decent play rec, not great, but solid man coverage, great zone coverage. So expect him to be a solid replacement for Jonathan Gatson. And then strong safety, we've got Vince Pike, who went up by a lot last year, but seems to have kind of relaxed on the overall going up here. But 92 zone coverage, really good speed, good awareness. I think he'll be a solid but not great replacement for the NFL draft prospect, the 4th rounder that was J.R. Lehan. Then we have our kicker, and Avery Priest. We already saw his ratings, his most important ones. We'll check his dev trade, I guess, here in a moment. And at punter, we have 2 of them now, but I'm going to start Richard over Andrade because Andrade kind of stinks, despite the accuracy being better than Richard. And now we have to trim this roster down by 7 spots. we are going to ask Tyler Griggs to transfer. We have a solid future at running back. All these guys are redshirt sophomores or lower, so we can probably let Pharrell transfer. And then 5 more spots. Right end, probably though could use a couple of guys heading elsewhere, like Emmett Coolidge and probably Lee Agbana. Has not really been given a fair shot here, and I think could probably find a better spot elsewhere, potentially as a starter. It's probably going to be one free safety here. We'll probably end up letting maybe Reggie Lamb go, because I like the speed that Brooks has. Actually, Reggie Lamb has a higher ceiling, I think, than Brooks does as a freshman compared to a sophomore, and a higher overall. Will encourage Brooks to transfer as well, unless we can do other spots first. Hold on. I can't even ask our punter to transfer. Why not? You have to have 2. It seems ridiculous. We're going to let Ray Brooks transfer. Now, one more player. And we'll choose Terry Boyette, who is the same overall as a lot of the true freshmen coming in. I think we'll see him off. And now we have a full roster of 85 players. But now is a big moment, a big shift in the dynamic of this team going forward and the future of this team. All of these school grades will be affected by this. Do we join a different conference? Is it the ACC or the SEC or perhaps the Big 12? This could be able to get a couple of Texas schools here. No schools to the east of that necessarily besides West Virginia. This could be a move that we make, potentially. Got a couple of, Texas schools like Baylor, TCU, and Texas Tech. We're obviously in a state that borders Texas. ACC could make sense. We're kind of near Georgia, which we played a couple of those teams in the Sun Belts. They obviously have California, who's not even on this coast. SMU also in Texas. Could be a fun conference to play. They got several ranked teams like Clemson, who we lost to a year ago in the bowl game. We beat FSU this last episode to close the year. So that's a potential opportunity. We saw the Big 12 and the SEC. I think this makes the most sense based on location. This would probably be the toughest conference, though, to finish with a similar record as we finished this year with. We would have a lot of battles in this conference. A lot of close games. Probably a lot more losses than we're used to the last couple of seasons. But you're right in the wheelhouse of where this conference is. Same state as LSU. This is a big decision. The ACC has 17 teams. The Big 12 has 16. The SEC has 16. I think we're going to strike the ACC from the option list because of that alone. And based on the overalls and the SEC, I think this is the conference that we're going to try to take down and really battle with to make the college football playoff. This would be a huge resume building conference to join, because these are all teams that have a higher star rating than we currently do. So I think we're going to make that leap and join the SEC. And one reason why I'm doing this is because I don't feel like we should probably be switching conferences too often. That's not a very common thing in college football. It was the last couple of years, but most teams don't switch their conference every couple of years. So if we're going here, it's going to be for good for the rest of this series. And that is going to be what we do. Houma has joined the Southeastern Conference. And we are a ranked team. Don't you forget, a high overall team. Coming off a strong finish to our year, building off of year 4, and now entering a new era in this series. And for the first time in program history, we open the preseason as a top 25 ranked team, even higher than where last year ended. We go from 22 to 16, and this is the entire top 25 right here. That leaves the SEC with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ranked teams in the top 25. We are one of them, but so is Tennessee, who is coming off a national championship. A very tough conference to recruit against and to play against week after week. This will be a huge test of a season to see what this program is truly made of when it comes down to those big matchups. And look at this. Kiki Newcomb, top 3 in Heisman watch. And why would he not be? He went up by like 10 overall points, coming off a great end to his junior campaign, and now comes in as a senior with a lot to prove. But we have no preseason All-American first-team players. We also have no preseason second-team players. In the SEC, no preseason first-teamers. A lot of high overall players here. We do have Newcomb, though, in the preseason second team. But he looks like the only player on the roster to make it. And we're going to face the Syracuse Orange, the number 14 ranked team in the Aflac kickoff game to open year 6. So a ranked team right out of the gates. Honestly, that's what I want. An early test. Then we face our rivals, the Memphis Tigers, in our home stadium at Cypress Grove Stadium. And then SEC conference play begins against the Auburn Tigers. Then we get Georgia on the road. A huge matchup at Sanford Stadium in Athens. We get Arkansas, who played a couple years ago. They beat the brakes off us, I believe, in that second half of that game back in like year 2 or 3. Then we, of course, face Georgia State. This has kind of become like a yearly occurrence here, even with us being out of the Sun Belt Conference. Have a bye week 7. We face Alabama at Saban Fields, but they're coming off a really bad year, 3-9 and 1-7 in conference play. They have really fallen off the SEC map. We get Texas coming off a rough year. We get another SBC school in UL Monroe. We played almost every year so far. And then we have a true test. 3 straight games against ranked opponents. Tennessee on the road, Vanderbilt at home, and Texas A&M at home as well before we move on to the postseason. So a really, really tough overall schedule, but if we're going to make the CFP, we have to be a battle-tested school and beat ranked teams week in, week out. That's what it takes to make it into the college football playoff. And this year, we have our least amount of needs in recruiting, maybe of the entire dynasty so far, at 15 total. Only 8 players on offense and 7 on defense. Nobody in special teams. So we can probably afford to put a lot of our chips into only a couple of baskets to get the best crop of players available and just look towards the future with our backup players, because besides quarterback and running back, no other spot really needs that many additions. So we can focus less on this and more on the actual games at hand in year 6. And we do not have any 5-star prospects that really want to put us in their top 10, so I'm probably going to avoid that and still work on 4-star players. But 5 stars could become part of our program next year, perhaps, from high school. But now we got to go after some 4 stars and just get our board set up for the rest of the year. We did find some solid gems already in this batch of 4-star high school recruits, starting with a quarterback, TJ Fucha, 94 throw power, a gem with already several physical abilities activated, plus really good short accuracy, good break sack, solid speed. Could be a really solid Brader replacement for a year from now or 2 years from now. We're not really sure how the other guys are going to progress that are on the roster right now. But now we can finally go after a 4-star quarterback for the first time. we're going to offer scholarships to all of these gems. You've got Taylor Gray, a gem power rusher with quick jump on the physical abilities, 85 speed, 82 power moves. We'll offer him. You've got Wade Sharp, a receiving back, 93 speed, same archetype as Kiki Newcomb. That's going to be the biggest thing for him right now, is that speed early on. We'll offer him a scholarship. We need to bring in 2 running backs and 3 quarterbacks. Alexander Haslam, a 4-star gem as well, with really good acceleration, really good speed, some really good mental abilities already. And we're going to offer him as well. We've got 7 total so far in this batch. Edward Madison, a right tackle, agile player, just a good finesse blocker in general. 75 speed's really good. And I think he's solid right out of the gate with 85 strength. Raphael Stoneburner, another tackle, more of a power guy with better strength but less speed than Madison. And I kind of want to bring in some different archetype alignments starting with him. So we're going to target not only agile players, but also probably a couple of power guys instead and see which one ends up being the biggest plus to this offensive line. Nelson Rubin is an agile guy with less of the finesse skills that Madison has, but is a gem, has really good strength for a guard, and I think he's a good lead blocker as well. So I like the pass block there too. And those are all of the gems so far. We have a few more hours left to spend. Let's scout maybe a couple of safeties if we can. Jameson Putasi is going to be a gem. 93 speed. We'll have to wait to offer a scholarship because we only have 10 hours left to use. And we will use that to scout somebody else. But I bet you thought that I forgot about our true freshman players. What are their dev traits? Let's dive in. Eric Jordan, a 78 overall true freshman, 93 speed. And he has impact development traits. And skill caps aren't too bad except for in route running. Alex Spangler, 76 overall, 96 speed. Less acceleration, impact developments, and more skill caps, but they aren't that bad. Casey Hadel, 72 overall, also 96 speed. Impact developments. He's already capped out in 3 categories, but still has to work on route running, hands, and IQ. He'll be a more well-rounded player, but less acclimated to one category over another. And then lastly, we have Calvin Kalmalats, the lowest speed receiver on the roster now. Normal developments and skill caps a bit higher than most, or a bit lower than most, I should say. At right guard, Damon Garbutt, the 3-star or 4-star gem rather. Normal developments, and these skill caps suck. This might have been a bad guy to bring in. Footwork will get better, don't get me wrong, but the skill caps are really, really low. That is very disappointing. I've never quite seen skill caps that low for a 4-star player. So that definitely hurts a little bit. What about Gitsy here? The 3-star gem. Impact developments. And not quite as bad as Garbutt, but not great either. So guard could be a future concern. We'll have to really keep our eye on that. Right tackle, we've got David Hagley, 77 overall. Right tackle. Star development, the highest of any recruits so far. And skill caps are pretty solid besides footwork. Can't really complain. Long way to go for him. Despite being a 77 overall, he could end up being like a 94, 95 maybe if he gets to the max caps available. So that's pretty solid. And then we have Pateli Tuipulotu. And he's got normal developments and really low skill caps, just like Garbutt has. In fact, probably worse. At left end, we've got Nathan Cooks at a 78 overall. Impact development as a 4-star freshman. But skill caps are pretty high. That's going to be good for his future, his outlook. I think he has a high ceiling. At right end, we've got 78 overall Rashad Vogt. Another 4-star player. He's got star development. And the skill caps, not great for the power, but he'll be a really good pass rusher in a couple of seasons. Plus a very smart player as well. Just give him some time, and he will be a really good edge rusher for us. At left outside linebacker, Tyler Mahoney, a power rusher. He's a 3-star player with impact development. Skill caps, probably about average. What about middle linebacker? We got some solid players here with the boosting. 80 overall for Silas Babcock. He's got impact dev as a 4-star player. Caps aren't great, but he'll still be a really good backup for the next couple years and maybe an eventual starter if he gets that pass coverage up. What about Silas Pryor? Same overall, star development, so better than Babcock's. Skill caps about the same, but could be a really good run stopper, solid pass coverage guy. But neither guy is going to be like a great player, but they will be good enough to probably start in a year or two. Last guy we've got here is Floyd Uzoma, one of our late additions. He's a 3-star player, impact development, no elite players yet. His skill caps aren't very good, about average. You've got 3 true freshmen at right outside linebacker, starting with Colin Proctor. I think they're all 3-star players. Impact development for Proctor, and about average skill caps. Won't blow you away in any one area, but will still be a solid player, most likely if he reaches his ceiling. Steven Roseman. Star development. So that's 3 or 4 players in this class with star dev. And he's got better skill caps than Colin Proctor. Last guy, Nathan Wilds. Normal developments. And probably the worst skill caps of the entire class so far. What about corner? This could be big for our secondary. We've got Marquise Levitt first. The slot archetype. True freshman, star development as a 4-star high school player. And he has a very high ceiling. That is very exciting. I just love seeing these black bars go all the way towards the end of their category. So good for him. Outlook looks promising. Carlos Estes already has 4 abilities. Man-to-man corner, impact developments, and worse skill caps than Levitt's. These are probably about average, but he's already like a 77 overall. Imagine him if he's at his peak. Probably a pretty good peak. We're pretty much down to our last 3 players to find an elite dev prospect, and we do find one here in Alex McSwain. Let's go. That is big for our secondary. 4-star player, elite development, and he has 4 of 6 categories uncapped. His ceiling is the highest of this class. No doubt about that. He's already maxed out his quickness. Everything else, when it improves, he's going to be probably a starter next year or the year after that, because he is going to be amazing. Devron Bender, another 4-star player, star development. So we're going to have a battle between these two for who wants that starting job in a couple of years. Not quite the best skill caps compared to McSwain, but still really good skill caps and 4 out of 6 categories. So exciting for him, and a good outlook for our free safeties. What about Alex Sousa, a 3-star strong safety, normal developments, and average skill caps again. And the last 2 players are Nick Richard and Avery Priest, our special teams connoisseurs. Priest, normal developments, kick power is maxed out, kick accuracy it nearly is. I don't think kicker is set in stone for us. It's tough to replace George Lincoln, who was great. Nathan Richard, not Nick Richard, is the new starting punter. Most likely, he's got normal developments and has max kick power and almost max kick accuracy. Yeah, we are not a special team school, that is for sure. But that is your team, led by Kiki Newcomb on offense and Jaquez Michelle on defense. This should be a team that can really repeat what we had last year if we can show up in these big games like we did against FSU. It was not an easy game at all, but we beat them in a ranked matchup in a bowl game. And now it's up to senior quarterback Stephen Brady to lead us and hopefully make us a top contender for the SEC Championship and for building us up to be a potential college playoff contender as well. We have a really good squad, strong in a whole lot of areas. It's going to take good coaching, perhaps more playbook tweaks, and adjusting to how our new team plays and how they fit with our current schemes and these new coordinators and how that all pans out. But a lot at stake in this new conference. We start out ranked for the first time ever, and we have a ranked team to open the year against the Syracuse Orange next time around. At home, I will see y'all there. Please leave your feedback down below. Who is your favorite player in this class? Who is your favorite player on this roster? And how do you think we can do in perhaps the toughest conference in college football? We'll find out as we begin year 6 next time around. Thanks for watching. Like the video and subscribe. I will see y'all in week 1 in Houma. Take care and have a great day.